Hey guys, Poro here with a new series inspired by my Can Jungle tier list. People have been asking me to do other roles, but admittedly I don't have the time or knowledge to make full role tier lists for over 100 champions other than jungle. Instead, I'm going to pick out 5 of my favorite off-meta champions from each role, talk about how it works briefly, and then showcase the picks using games that I played on stream. I polled my community on which role they would want to see first, and almost half of you picked top lane, so we're kicking this series off with 5 off-meta top laners to run it down with. The first pick I have is one of my favorites, and is even my second most played champion in solo queue behind Kayn. If you've watched any of my streams at all, you know that this champion is Elise. The theory behind Elise top is very simple. She's strong early and can stack waves levels 1 through 3 against most champions. You can then dive the turret to start off the game with a massive lead, which snowballs into a Fed Assassin with little counterplay. The skill that makes Elise so good at diving is her spider form E, Repel, which allows her to drop turret aggro. Most Elise jungle players use this frequently, ganking lanes that are shoved in and starting the dive. Elise top works the same way, except she does the entire thing herself. The way you play out the lane to get here is pretty simple. Use human Q and auto attacks to poke the enemy laner down, then stack a few waves once they're too low to contest. When you shove the wave under turret, fish around with a cocoon. If it hits, or sometimes, even if it doesn't, you just throw all of your abilities down and attempt to get the kill. Once you've secured it, you can drop the aggro with E and you've won the lane. There are a few issues to look out for though. The first one is that her human Q, the main way of getting priority in lane, costs a lot of mana, 80 at rank 1. There are some matchups where you just don't have the mana to make the dive work. Another issue is Elise's weak level 1. If enemy top laners fight hard for level 2 advantage, you'll likely play the first part of lane on the back foot. The third issue is that Elise can suffer from ganks. Since you're playing to constantly push out and dive, you'll likely be ganked a lot. Pair this with the fact that Elise has very few disengage tools, and you could rack up a lot of deaths very quickly if you're not careful. Elise also has some nice intricacies with her kit that allows her to excel in the lane. Her spider form attacks provide healing on hit with spider Q, and her spider W increases attack speed. If left unchecked, Elise can sustain over time off of waves with this ability. If left alone entirely, you can even use spider E on the wave, which increases the healing on attacks even more. Elise is also great at poking and harassing under turret if you have mana, since her human Q does flat damage and percent current health damage together, is ranged, and has a somewhat slow travel speed. Her auto attacks and human W are also pretty slow, meaning you can throw all of these at someone under turret and be well out of turret range before any of them connect. My runes and item setups are mainly used to counteract some of Elise's lane weaknesses. I take Summonary for poke, and then Mana Flow Band, Transcendence, and Gathering Storm. Using human Q only when mana flow is up is key to managing your mana well. I prefer Gathering Storm over Scorch, because Scorch can make juggling turret aggro when going for poke much more difficult. For secondary runes, I always take Presence of Mind. This allows you to constantly regain mana while you're poking with area autos, and is the main rune that allows this champ to function. My build is full AP, I prefer not to go Bruiser. I rush Luden's Companion for the mana and poke strength, and then go immediately into full damage items like Shadow Flame, Death Cap, and Crit Bloom. Shadow Flame especially works well with Elise, as her spider Q does more damage based on missing health. Combining these with the Shadow Flame crit allows for some crazy kill thresholds. I usually end with a defensive item like Zhonya's or Banshee's. The Aatrox matchup can be pretty volatile though. Basically the way that it works is that whenever he wants to go in on me, I have to just full send it and Q into him so that way he misses the sweet spots. And then when he goes for Q3, then I use Repel to dodge it. I beat him the fuck up. I have Ignite and my Spiderlings. Okay. I should probably chill out on queuing him. I don't want to run into mana issues. I can't follow up on that. Looks like it's good without me. I can use this as an opportunity to slow heal up. Elise's auto attacks and her Q give her healing on hit, so when there's nothing going on in the lane, you can sustain back up really easily.
Every web,
I'm dead here, I think. Yeah. It's not the worst death in the world. I already got the wave shoved in, so I don't lose any of my pressure or anything. So that's the trade that I was talking about, where he goes in on me, and then I just trade back super hard until he uses Q3, and then I dodge it, and that's the end of the trade. If I can farm this wave without it crashing, I should be able to get priority for the rest of the game, pretty much. I can kill him here, actually. He's trolling. Nice. Nice. Yeah, the Aatrox trade pattern is really favorable for me. So it's like there's no way for him to really play, because I can just get on top of him super easily. Yep, there he goes. I wasn't going to let him back into the lane anyway. As long as I just hold the cocoon, he can't walk back in, and I get the shove for free. I really want to get one turret dive this game. I think showing an Elise top game without showing a turret dive is pretty underwhelming, so... Because turret diving is like the thing that Elise is best at. I don't mind letting the Aatrox walk. I'm gonna use my spider to just heal up. And then you E to drop the turret aggro, and easiest dive of the world. And he flashed, actually, so even better. So you can see how much damage my Q does once I have points in it. Taking the turret just in time before plates fall off. Nice. Elise dueling is really strong. Ooh, wait, they TP'd on me. Looks like it's still fine. Lol. Pretty much once you get to mid game with Elise, there's two ways that you can play. You can either play for side lane, because your W, your spider W, gives you a lot of attack speed, so you can take turrets really fast if you're left alone. But the other thing that you can do is roam around and look for picks, because Elise being an assassin, she can really one-shot somebody if you get there. The second top laner is Xin Zhao, which functions in a much more standard way than anything else in this video. Xin Zhao is notably strong in jungle because of his early dueling, and this translates well into top lane in more ways than you might expect. The two specifics that make Xin Zhao top strong are his passive and his trading pattern. The passive is very simple and speaks for itself. Xin Zhao heals every third auto attack. This sustain can be pretty crazy, especially since his E gives attack speed and his Q is an auto reset. The trading combo for Xin Zhao in jungle is usually W, E, auto Q, but top lane puts a bit of a twist on it. Since the minions are right there in lane, you can actually stack your Q1 and Q2 on the minions, then immediately E in and get the Q3 knockup, guaranteeing that both parts of your W land as well. This combo deals a lot of damage, and you end up sustaining the return damage as soon as you go back to hitting minions. Xin Zhao also has a notably fast turret take, since he has auto resets from both his Q and from Titanic Hydra, so pairing this with Demolish means you're always a side lane threat. While most people consider Xin Zhao to be a champion that falls off, this is much less true if you can stick around in a side lane and fight 1v1s. The build is specifically tailored to amplify these trades and dueling power. I like to rush Titanic Hydra for a few reasons like the turret taking speed, but mainly because of the interaction with his Q. Since Xin Zhao's Q knocks up on the third auto, Titanic makes this significantly easier. Once you get your first item, you can Q1 the minion and then instantly engage with the Titanic auto reset to get the knockup faster than anyone can react. Afterwards, I just build standard bruiser items like Sundered Sky, Sterix, and Eclipse. The rune page is also a pretty standard top lane page with Conqueror, Presence of Mind, Legend Haste, Last Stand, Demolish, and Second Wind. There's also some added tech you can implement that takes advantage of Xin Zhao's AP scalings. The W, E, and R all have decent AP ratios, but the main winner is the passive healing. I don't build AP items, but I do like to start with a Doran's Ring in most games. The Doran's Ring and Presence of Mind also allow you to play a bit more aggressively since the W and E can cost a fair amount of mana. I would recommend saving your W only for when you're committing to a trade and focusing mostly on spamming Q instead. So into Nasus, part of me wanted to take Ignite, but honestly I think that the threat of having TP and being able to freeze a wave on him will be really useful. So something cool that I've kind of noticed about top lane is that you don't actually, you technically only need 6 minions to level up if the 6th minion that you kill is a melee minion. Anyways, now that I have level 2, I can zone him off. I think I can just walk this one out. I should be fine too. Nasus doesn't really have a way to punish me. I can just slow heal off of the wave because my passive gives me healing every third auto attack. He's almost out of mana. I don't think he can shove this. Xin Zhao's passive single-handedly just gave me full control of the lane. Dude, this guy's never going to be able to reset, by the way. He didn't hard push, so I didn't have to TP, so I can just sit here. Yeah, he fucked up. I'm just gonna freeze. If he tries to break the freeze, he has no ult, and I have executioners, so I'm pretty sure I can just hold it. Xin Zhao passive is so crazy that Kindred can gank, get me down to like 200 HP, and then I still just hold full control of the lane because I heal back like 10 million health. Maybe he just DC'd. No way. He can't hold it there forever, it's gonna shove back towards me. And guess what's gonna happen once it shoves back towards me? The funniest part is that if he ever tries to break the freeze by chunking me, then I can just still hold it by resetting on a cannon wave and then teleporting onto it. Not even close. Dead Kindred, nice. Nice. And knock up. Okay, Nasus just completely trolled. I only had 3 casters, I wasn't going to be able to hold it. He pressed E on the minion wave and now it's a freezable wave. There's no way that that happens 3 times in a row, right? Xin Zhao's turret take is really fast, because his E gives him attack speed. And his Q acts as an auto reset. And you have Titanic for another auto reset. Knock him away. Titanic is back up. There's the knock up. And now I just win. Oh, I'm dead here, I think. Not before I take one with me, though. Titanic Burst on Xin Zhao is so good. Let me just take this so that way they don't have a way in. Thank you. Did NASA steal it with E? Yeah, honestly, we could look on this. I'm gonna go. I think it looks good. Big. Alright, let's go get Soul. You know, something funny about AP Xin Zhao, just to like respond to the chat real quick, because I've seen a few people mention it. I actually think that Doran's Ring start is the best start on Xin Zhao top. I just didn't do it against Nasus specifically, under the potential threat that he E-maxed and tried to poke me off the wave with it. Do I beat Nasus? Terrible. Ooh, 71. To think that this game would probably be over if Volibear didn't get the Baron stolen by Nasus E. I can probably walk up and just clear this. Man, I chucked like 3 W's into that bush. Surprised everybody dodged all of them. I was completely useless in that fight. We still win. I mean, they pretty much just won a 4v5. I did literally nothing. Nice. Samira is a champion I've covered before, but that time it was for jungle. This role may be a bit more popular for her and requires much less brainpower. The main key for Samira is the short cooldown of her ultimate. When you think about many of the meta top laners, one similarity is that they play heavily around their ultimates to trade and look for kills. Samira can somewhat bypass this, since her ultimate is functionally always up. The goal is to go for a fight with the enemy top laner where both of you use your ultimates, but you end up surviving. If you've done this, then you get lane pressure for the next minute or two, since your ult is still up and theirs is down. With this in mind, your main objective in every game is to hit level 6 without falling behind. Even though Samira is a ranged champion, getting to level 6 is usually the hardest part. While you have access to harassing with auto attacks, most top laners know that Samira lacks any real damage or burst before level 6. You'll often find yourself being pushed in against enemies with Doran's Shield and Second Wind, and losing the race to level 6. There's no direct remedy for this issue, but taking runes like Bone Plating and items like Doran's Shield can help. For my build, I used to rush Bloodthirster and then go straight into Infinity Edge. The Overheal shield with high damage allowed me to continuously go for the ultimate combo over and over again without needing to reset. However, with the new item changes, I'm not exactly sure. Maybe something like Collector into Infinity Edge would work. To supplement this, my runes include Presence of Mind and Legend Bloodline. I sometimes go Fleet Footwork depending on the matchup, but Conqueror is the go-to. The one last thing you need to note is that you'll see different items in my gameplay example, but that's because patch 14.10 changed my build and this game was streamed weeks prior to that. So the deal with Samira top is that early levels I can't really do much. Like I'll harass, because I'm playing a ranged top laner, you know, but for the most part, I can't really do much until level 6. While other champions, they use their ultimate once like for trade, for the all-in, and then they have to kind of wait the 100 seconds, but Samira can abuse that because she can just continue to trade over and over again, because her ultimate is on like a 5-second cooldown. So you can kind of like, once you're level 6, you win a lot of matchups. Like you go for the all-in once, and if they don't kill you, then now they just can't play the game because you have access to your all-in still and they don't. And then I can freeze it.
She really doesn't want me to. Okay. Her ult is now down, but I just have my ult permanently. Ooh, missing that right there was disastrous.
An ally has been slain.
Okay, ends up working out. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the trade. I got her ghost and I got her ult, so I have to do absolutely nothing here. I just need to survive. If I can dodge all of her E's, that's fantastic. She only has one left. And then once her ult is gone, that thing where I have my ult and she doesn't. Ooh, I missed my Q. I could have killed her there if I hit that. I can use this pressure to do stuff like zone her. I can zone her off of XP. So now I just wait for her to use E. She never does, okay. Yeah, maybe I can't get one. It was close though. They're putting all of their pressure topside. She still doesn't have an item. Oh, she got me actually. I wasn't expecting that. Okay, that's on me. Jesus, Italy loves me. Alright. I would have preferred that the game that I showcased in the video be one where I like start out 4-0 like I did, and then I just keep on getting fed and snowball and end the game with like 20 kills or something. But to be honest, this one is fine too, because it's more realistic. Like, if the enemy team sees Samira top, they're going to pressure her more. I have 4 items. I could ace them all if I just get one good fight. Even the Shyvana now, because she kind of over-indexed into magic resist items for Akali. Okay, yeah, not even close. I destroy Shyvana. Oop. Sarah got me. Kind of an ugly mess, but I think it gets the point across.
The fourth champion in this video is Master Yi, who may have one of the funniest laning phases ever. The main selling point of this pick is his W, which heals a ridiculous amount of health at a pretty low mana cost. The goal here is to use W to stabilize most lanes, while you farm up and eventually hit your powerful mid and late game item spikes. The key to making this work is to know how Master Yi's W works. The skill blocks 90% of incoming damage for the first half second of being used, and then a lower amount scaling from 45 to 65% afterwards. You can hold the ability for up to 4 seconds and it can be cancelled at any time. The ability scales with AP and has a mana cost of 6% max mana per second. With this knowledge in mind, there's a few cheeky ways this can be used. For starters, building mana items is useless because the cost is always 6%. However, nobody said anything about mana regeneration items. Due to the AP scaling, Doran's Ring is a great starting item for Yi. The skill also has very high base healing that increases on rank, so I like putting 3 points into W at level 5 before swapping to a Q max. The healing also increases depending on your missing health. The best way to use the ability is either right when the enemy is initiating their trade, or during downtime when your health is under half. If you know you have the mana sustain for it, you can also just pop it whenever to top off. In terms of combat power, Yi suffers a bit until you've completed your first item, so I always recommend not fighting or looking for trades on Yi early unless absolutely necessary. Once you get to 3 or 4 items, you can pretty much take over a game by yourself. For items, I always build the same 3 core of Bork, Rageblade, and Kraken Slayer. Rageblade works especially well due to the synergy with Master Yi's double hit passive and true damage E. After those items, you can go whatever you want, but my recommendation would be either Terminus, or defensive items like Death Stance and Guardian Angel. For runes, take either Lethal Tempo or Conqueror. I prefer Lethal Tempo in most games, followed by Presence of Mind, Alacrity, Cut Down, Second Wind, and Revitalize.
I'm into Twisted Fate Karma, both of which Yi is bad against. Malphite. Although, it's AP Malphite. AP Malphite still has like 300 armor, but you know. Then I'm against an Ignite Rumble in lane, so I should lose lane pretty hard. Let's see, did he start Q or E? Let's find out. If he started Q, I'll start W. If he started E, I'll start E. I almost never start Q on Master Yi. I find that it's not actually useful. Good trade. Let's try to crash this before Poppy can get up here. Not gonna let Rumble hold it. Alright. Hey, look, there's Poppy. Poppy's being too aggressive here. Alright, good start. When you're level 5, your W gives you 280 healing times 2, so potentially 560, and then also plus 36 because of the AP scaling on it with your Doran's Ring. Actually more than that, it's plus 54, because I have Adaptive Force. So basically you can use all of that sustain to try to survive lane. Even with this first blood, I'm not going to be able to get lane pressure. For 1, he still has Ignite, and 2, I don't really do that much damage until Blade of the Rune King, so my job is just to survive until I get my item spikes. Then I can look to do stuff against the Rumble.
An enemy has been slain.
You can see that he can poke me a little bit, but it's not that important. I really don't like it when junglers show up when I'm trying to catch a wave under my turret. I can turn. He's about to overheat, I need to be careful. Alright, we got a solo kill against Ignite Rumble. Dude, can this Vi stop coming top when I'm farming my wave under turret? Please. Alright, we're gonna press W, heal all of that back up real quick. Karma might be here. I'm still gonna get rooted. I played that bad. I mean, I think overall the correct play would have been to just run the turret. Like, both of us run the turret, try to go past Rumble.
An ally has been slain.
Dude. Why is it 3 times now that this Vi comes top when I'm catching a wave under my turret? When you're catching a wave on your turret, that's the worst time for your jungler to come, unless they're specifically coming only to prevent a dive. But if you're coming for a gank, when I'm catching a wave under my turret, it's the absolute worst time, because best case scenario is that we get a kill, but I lose the entire wave and all of its XP for it. And worst case scenario is that we don't get the kill, and you just leached half of my XP. And now I can't play the game anymore.
Your team has destroyed.
Dude! Oh my god. She just doesn't get it. Like, the 2 windows that you have to gank as a jungler are 1, if your top laner is holding the wave here, freezing / holding the wave here, forcing the enemy top to be overextended, which was not the case because Rumble has prio over me, so he can just shove it in my face. And then the other time that you can gank is when you're crashing the wave against them, and then you go for a dive. Those are like really the only 2 times you can gank. I guess it was a bad idea. I thought I'd be able to outplay it. I could have gotten her anyway if I reacted to her flashy in time with my Q. I can TP here maybe, actually. I want to volt, but we have numbers. Ah, that was so close. One more auto attack, I get my Q back. It's probably a Malphite with R. I'm a little bit terrified of that guy. I cannot contribute to this. Oh, now I can. Oh, Malphite, you done fucked up. Pretty sure if he just doesn't press R, we lose that. Unfortunate. Oh, it's Malphite ult. I have ult, Malphite doesn't if we're gonna fight. Alright. Malphite's coming in from the top. Doesn't look good to me. I didn't see if Malphite ulted or not. Okay, Jin says he ulted. Oh, that just a fake troll. He could have stunned me first. Alright, let's do this. Alright, Jin's got it. Sweet. Alright.
The last pick I have for you is Yuumi top. At first, it sounds like a funny pick completely meant for trolling. However, I'm here to try to convince you that it's actually very strong. The main inspiration for this pick dates back to when Janna and Bard top were meta. Those picks primarily focused on roaming to bot side and generating advantages while ignoring top lane. Yuumi works in a similar way, with the main goal being to ditch lane at or after level 6 to sit on your jungler. Yuumi's laning is not to be underestimated though. Yuumi is extremely hard to kill in 1v1 scenarios due to her heals, shields, slows, and movement speed on all of her basic abilities. Her passive also allows her to heal on auto attacks, and her E can protect her from most engages and trades. One of the best parts about Yuumi's laning is that the general community believes she can't do it, which results in enemy top laners making countless mistakes attempting to punish a champion that's not so easy to punish. This overaggression often leads to Yuumi randomly picking up solo kills in more games than one would expect. If you are extra aggressive, you can even take Ignite to further enable this. Most lane phases involve Yuumi going for constant auto attacks anyway to heal her, so opponents will naturally be somewhat lower on health in general. Personally, I like to run one of two summoner spell setups, either Flash Teleport or Flash Exhaust depending on the matchup. These spells all serve the same purpose, which is to give you a get out of jail free card if you ever mess up. Yuumi is very hard to punish if played properly, but she's still pretty squishy at the end of the day. Remember, the goal is just to survive until you hit level 6. At this point, you have a couple of options. I like to buy a support item and then sit on my jungler, and have the jungler catch my waves whenever the enemy top laner is going to push. It goes without saying, but this also implies that Yuumi is a better pick when the enemy is playing something that pushes slowly, like a tank. Due to the CS you picked up in lane and your late support item, a Yuumi top will usually end with faster item spikes than a support Yuumi, and support items are pretty broken. I like to pick up items like Redemption and Shirelios. With a Yuumi on your team, late game scaling is likely to be better than the opponent, and you can just coast your way to a mid and late game victory. For rune setup, I like to take Summonary. Not only is this rune strong later with shields, but also provides some extra firepower to the auto attacks you'll be going for in lane. After that, runes like Mana Flow, Nullifying Orb, Gathering Storm, and Transcendence are all useful. For secondaries, I usually take Bone Plating and Revitalize to help me survive in lane a bit easier. This pick works especially well if you're playing with friends. At the end of the day, it's a funnel strat. If your team knows what you're doing and knows that you'll be fine in lane, it actually helps to have strong carry champions like Hecarim or Gwen who can 1v9 a game when ahead on your team.
So the game plan is going to be pretty simple. Skarner is a tank, so hopefully it'll be easy for me to survive the lane phase here as Yuumi. Yuumi's lane phase is significantly much harder to break than people think it is because she has a lot of sustain with her passive and her E. The only issue you really have to worry about is, well, there's two things. You have to worry about your wave clear, and you have to worry about your mana running out, but if you can manage both of those throughout the early game, essentially you just get to the end of lane phase, you buy a support item, and then you just sit on whoever your carry is. So I picked Yuumi in this game, one, because I'm laning into a tank, so lane phase probably not going to be terrible. Then the plan is just to sit on the Hecarim later. One thing to note is that on lane Yuumi, you will be maxing E and not Q, because your Q is kind of useless. Early game, your focus is somewhat on farming. You don't need to go too crazy with it, because you're playing Yuumi, you're a low economy champion, you're going to get a support item later. Gold income will not be an issue. You can see here that the main thing I'm doing is just every time my passive is up, I go for an auto attack. The amount of healing that you get from your passive is actually pretty high. Depending on what lane matchup you're going into, you can even take Doran's shield instead of ring. And then because of my rune setup with second wind, makes me surprisingly tanky. Unfortunate. I should be fine here. I don't even think I'll need the flash. I got greedy. One thing that's really funny about picking Yuumi top that happens all the time is that people see Yuumi and they just get super aggressive because they assume you're easy to kill. Oops. I should have flashed. I forgot that Skarner has damage over time. I didn't need to die there. Yuumi shouldn't die there. I could have flashed out whenever, I was just greeting for it. There's no way. This is what I'm saying, like I pick Yuumi and people just get like so overconfident for no reason. You might think that that's just Skarner playing bad, but I'm telling you this happens almost every time you pick Yuumi top. It's like, who cares if they kill me? They're setting behind a Yuumi. I'll still do the same shit later anyway. Oh my god, there's no way. He's got shield soon, I'm not gonna overchase this. You see how much healing the Yuumi passive gives me? I'm almost full health again. Always happens. They always overgreed for the Yuumi. And 100% we always let Hecarim catch the wave. Anytime the jungler comes top, you just always let the jungler catch the wave. Skarner's over here, a tank taking the turret. He doesn't even have Demolish. He must have something else in the green rune tree. So he'll just be there taking that forever. So we're committing pretty heavily for this. Look, my team is starting to see the light. They're pinging me. See, this Hecarim knows what's up. He's just power farming, and then every time he sees a top wave, he farms a top wave. That's what you want to do. Sad I couldn't weave anything in. Don't we win this? Yeah. Ooh, it hits. And that's why we take Flash on Yuumi. That is so tilted. Well played, Yuumi. You carried all the team just for picking that champ. I'm gonna Shiraya Sakura into this. Azir wants to go. Alright, pretty decent. Alright. The redemption kill, let's go. Oh, I died because I was taking turret. That's so funny. Alright, huge. 33 assists. Yuumi Gaming. Pretty much almost full build. In fact, you know what? There we go. Echoes of Helia. Now I'm full build. Not the item I wanted, but at least it'll show up as full build in the match history.
And with that, that's everything I have for you on this one. If I had to put these on a tier list similar to a Candid Jungle tier list, every pick in this video would make a Z or S tier. I would probably have Elise, Xin Zhao, and Yuumi in Z, with Samira and Master Yi in S. As for how I think these picks actually fare against meta champions, I would say Elise, Xin Zhao, and Yuumi are all at least A tier picks, while Samira and Master Yi probably sit around B or C. I'll be putting out a poll with what role you guys want me to do next, and I do plan on hitting every role in the series at some point. I have a Twitch channel where I'll be streaming some of these picks, and I also have a Discord server, links to both will be in the description. I'm also planning on doing a lot of streams with a new fresh Elise Top one-trick account in preparation for my full Elise Top guide, so check that out if that sounds interesting. I also have a Ko-fi page, and any tips are highly appreciated. Thanks for watching. Bye!